Well, hello, Petals, and thank you so much for tuning in again to the Wedding Florist social podcast. As usual, before we get into the juicy stuff, please do click like and subscribe, and just generally tell all your mates about this fab little podcast. And please feel free to join my Facebook group as well. The link is in the comments. So make sure you like, subscribe, and don't miss out on any future episodes. So today is a really interesting one. It's another interview today. It's been quite popular, this Wedding Florist social podcast. It's nice to be joined by people rather than talking on my own. Today we're talking about awards. Um, what are the benefits of them? Why should you even enter them? Should you enter them? Can they even benefit your business anyway? What good can these awards do? And I thought, what better person to speak to about this than the lovely Damian Bailey the founder of the Wedding Industry Awards, or TWIA for short. So welcome, Damian.
Hi, Vicky. Thanks for having me. Hi, everybody.
And should also mention that your wife Anna is one of the founders as well. So
yeah, but she's not here, is she?
Yeah,
so it's all about me today.
Absolutely. We've got the pleasure of your company. So yeah, I mean, what better person to speak to about awards and, generally a discussion around how they can benefit your business, what the benefits can be, perhaps some of the pitfalls out there, and all of this sort of thing. So Damian, I guess, first of all, as an awards founder yourself and a wedding business owner yourself, tell us a little bit about the awards and that you run and why you think they're important, why you create them in the way that you did.
Okay, so a little bit of context. So I'm a wedding photographer, have been for 20 years. I will shoot my 1000th wedding next summer. I've worked it out, so that's going to be a milestone.
Well done.
And off the back of that, my job as a photographer means I get to meet and work with wedding suppliers across the board, from hair and makeup at the beginning of the day through to bands and DJs in the evening and everyone in between. In 2007, I entered an awards that was very similar to TWIA, actually, client voted, and I won Wedding Photographer of the Year, which really, really helped my business. I was able to double my price, and I doubled my bookings, which was pretty cool at that stage. I'd only been going for 3-4 years. So Excellent. That gave me a huge boost of confidence as well. And I benefited in so many ways. Those awards then disappeared, as often they do when they're promoting another product, which is what they were doing. So my wife Anna and I said, look, that was great. The industry deserves and needs a bona fide awards that is done for the right reasons and in the right way. We're both from an event management background. How hard could it be? We thought.
He says.
Yeah, piece of cake, isn't it? And here we are 12 years later. We launched in 2011, 2012, and here we are. We at the very heart of what we do is it's about doing it for the right reasons and in the right way. That means, in short, client-only voting. Otherwise, what's the point? It has to be based on user experience first and foremost, and expert judging. And that means a separate panel for each category, not an editorial panel from a magazine judging everything. And they actually really have very little expertise on anything to do with weddings. So we have a separate panel for each category, and now that number's 140 judges on our panel. Probably the trickiest bit of running the awards.
Coordinating all of that, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite hard to manage all of them, but they're brilliant, and we love them for doing it. They do it for nothing. So once we set up the framework of the awards, client voting, expert judging, then we have to appeal to wedding businesses to enter themselves into the awards, get their clients to vote for them. And then we have our events in November where we hand out the original, or announce and present the original winners. The original winners then go through to the national final in London, where we hand out the national trophies. So it's a two-tier system because, well, as you well know, the industry runs on a geographical basis. For me, in my little bag of cameras, it's very easy for me to go all over the country, but most suppliers don't. So we need to recognize people at a regional level first. And it also means that we can recognize more people.
Absolutely.
And we also love going to party with everybody in November. November's bleak at best of times.
It's quite an event, I have to say. Having been to one before and won one, it's
yes.
I'm pleased to say.
Yeah, just drop that in.
Wedding Florist of the Year, Yorkshire and the North East for 2024 here.
Drop that in.
But
we try to make them fun because, as I say, it's bleak at November. the industry is relatively quiet or quieter,
That's
and
key.
we feel we've sort of inadvertently created a bit of a community. And that's a bit of a word that crops up time and again now with the awards, when we get feedback from people. They love to come and meet other people who are involved in the industry, whether that, let's say in this case, is other florists or other types of wedding supplier who they might know and work with at weddings, but they never get a chance to chat or connect properly.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot at our events. I know it does. So yeah, we're very proud of that, and love doing it. It's nice to put faces to the business names that we've seen repeatedly on spreadsheets.
100%. Yeah. Even as someone that's some sort of introvert who hates networking herself, like I'm still pleased that I went to this and put faces to names, even other florists,
Yeah,
I don't know about other wedding sort of industries, but it's a very, it's very competitive, can be a little bitchy. And, but florists, I'm all, about community over competition. And,
100%.
it was great to put. In fact, I even bought one of them a drink at the bar
Yeah,
inadvertently. The bar was closed, and I was like, "Come on, quick! What are you having?" So yeah, I was. It was really good to put faces to names and make those
yeah.
connections.
I mean, if
I want
nothing else, it's nice to have someone that you trust who you can recommend, because,
absolutely,
and vice versa. And
yeah.
I absolutely, you're right. The community over competition is key. I'm sure lots of your listeners are relatively early in their career as a wedding florist, and
Hmm.
I would advise them to try to be like that from the outset. It's just healthy. There's lots of work to go around if you're good at what you do.
There is.
Collaboration, pay it forwards, because you never know who you might need to rely on further down the line. And COVID definitely showed that to a lot of us. We relied on each other
Definitely.
a lot.
And you say, just to pick up on what you said there, like, further down the line, when I was first starting out in my business, I know I've been going 13 years now, and there's those friendships, those connections that I made in the initial sort of year or so have served me well throughout my career, and it might not have even been obvious initially. So it's not like you meet someone one day and then get recommended the next by them. It's that nurturing those long-term communications, and
Yeah.
you get to know these people, and then maybe a couple of years down the line they're doing a photo shoot and they want you involved, or
Mhm.
a bridal shop is suddenly recommending you to one of their clients. So that sort of thing. It blossoms, not to have
Ah,
that
see what
pun.
you've done there.
I was trying not to say the word blossom, but too cheesy.
But
But
you did.
out it came anyway. But yeah, it really sort of blooms and snowballs, I suppose.
Yeah.
And that's one of the benefits of entering the awards. The I want to talk a little bit about that, because you did mention words like integrity and bona fide and
Mhm.
words like that. Because there's a lot of fakery out there, isn't there? There's a lot of these like fake awards, or you
Yeah.
get maybe an email or a letter through your door saying, "Hi, you've been nominated, or you're chosen as one of the top 3 wedding florists in
Yeah.
Tyne and Weir," or emailed saying, "By the way, you've been nominated in this such and such awards. Pay us 100 quid to come and visit our final award
Mm.
ceremony in whatever
Yeah.
city it is." It's, and some of them are although they're bona fide, that they're more of a popularity contest, and it's about who gets the most awards, not sorry, votes rather,
Yeah.
not necessarily who's the actual best. And
Yeah.
you know these things kind of, they can look great on the face of it from a consumer point of view. You can say you're an award-winning florist or whatever technically, but it's not right. It doesn't feel right. It feels a bit icky,
No.
I suppose. And I mean, before I won TWIA, the Wedding Florist of the Year category, for the regional rounds, I had won
Mm.
at least 3 other awards that I can think of in the past, but none of them felt like I had won
Yeah.
awards. And by I've put the logos on my website anyway, because it looks good from a customer facing point of view, but it never felt like I won an
Yeah.
award. But with yours, with TWIA, it's one of the few sort of bona fide ones, really.
Yeah.
It meant a lot, because my actual real clients had voted for me, and I got to see all this lovely stuff they'd said
Mm.
about me
Yeah.
afterwards. And um that then like you said about the judges as well, actual people who know about your industry,
Yeah.
I mean, we've got members of the British Florist Association on the judging board for the florist category, for example.
Mm.
That they're people who actually know about your industry. So but there's a lot of fakery out there, isn't there? Right? And what would you say to that?
Yeah, there is. And I don't, in a way, I don't blame someone for setting up an award, because they're all they're trying to do is effectively garner your data to sell it on to somebody else. Most of the time they're run by marketing agencies, have
Yes.
nothing to do with the wedding industry, no expertise. You will struggle to find out any information on how they actually run their awards. They're just not awards.
Yeah.
They're a means by which they can harvest data, your data.
Mm-hmm.
I think at best it's disingenuous to put those logos onto your website,
Mm-hmm.
but it does look good from a client basis, and the organizers, those marketing agencies, know that.
Yes.
But I would say, if you want to do that, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, if something's free, and actually this is often the differentiator,
Yes.
these fake ones are usually or almost always free to enter, and everyone loves that. And then we come along, TWIA comes along and say, oh no, we've got an entry fee, and people are up in arms. Well,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. And at the beginning, when we started, they definitely were. Now people understand, people who enter understand why there's an entry fee.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do what we do for free. We can't offer the service that we offer for free, just like neither could you, and neither could your listeners.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sensible people understand that. However, if you enter a free awards, at some point, they're going to make some money out of you,
Yeah.
either by selling your data,
Mm-hmm.
which you don't really want these days, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you go to one of their so-called awards events, you pay for a lot more for a ticket. You'll pay for photos, you'll pay for video, you'll often even pay for the trophy. You'll pay for a media pack. Any aspect of that win, in inverted commas, will cost you money, and
It ends up being an expensive chicken dinner a lot of the time.
way more
really.
than we're charging as well in the
Yeah.
end. And I think what we're trying to do as well is add value at every stage. So even as an entrant, let alone a finalist or a winner at regional or national level, there's value to be had from entering our awards, which is absolutely not the case for any of the others.
Absolutely.
I would say we're the only one,
Mm.
bona fide awards.
I can't think of any of this. Yeah.
National basis. There are some that operate in individual regions that are definitely worthwhile,
Mm-hmm.
but we're the only one that operates on that bigger scale. So the benefits of entering can be along the line. I mean, as simple as a commercial benefit, you will raise your industry profile. That can help you get more bookings. It can help you charge more for those bookings, or both.
Yeah.
Let's not beat around the bush. There's a commercial
Which
angle.
you have done yourself in your
I
own
have.
business. You won
So yeah,
awards
and I know how that felt, and that it
Yeah.
was nerve-wracking, but it gave me the confidence, and that sort of leads into the secondary element of it, which is a personal benefit that you can get, a boost for self-confidence. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I know lots of people who've said to me, it gave me the confidence to, so being a finalist, for instance, gave me the confidence to go full-time. Getting that acknowledgement, that pat on the back, that lovely feedback from my clients,
Mm-hmm.
gave me the confidence to do that. Even just entering, you mentioned to me before we came on, before we started the record, that lots of your listeners are starting out.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they enter? I think if you think of entering TWIA as helping enhance your marketing, which you're going to have to do to get your business off the ground, then that's a really good reason to enter. And the entry fee is £108. There aren't many better ways of spending that or investing that in your business to raise your profile, to create really engaging content as you go through that journey of the awards. Because
this is to speak about content before I forget there, actually, Damian, because a lot of people, they'll enter the awards, whether it be yours or someone else's or whatever, and they don't do anything with it. They don't. There's so many content. You haven't been part of my crowd as long as the listeners have, and they'll know that I'm always banging on about everything being a content creation opportunity. So things like posting on your Instagram stories saying, "Hey, please nominate us," or
it just
even
looks good.
selfies at the awards
Yeah.
ceremony or videos, or there's all sorts of opportunities, not just at the awards, but on the run up for you to actually raise your profile and your visibility and just be active on your social
Yeah.
media. Because one of the things that my followers struggle with, having just started out, is that they don't have a lot of that content yet in
Mm,
terms of actual pictures from real weddings,
absolutely.
because they've only done maybe one or
Yeah,
two
of course.
weddings.
But so where do you start? You just show pictures
Yeah,
of yourself or the flowers, or you
yeah,
working on the flowers, and that's great. You
yeah.
need that. But take your audience on a journey.
Hmm.
Um, I've entered the awards. It shows self-confidence, self-belief. Even if you don't yet have it, it demonstrates that. You're then engaging with couples to vote for you, which is nice to sort of get them back into the process again. And they're rest assured they're talking to their mates who are also getting married,
Yeah,
that their florist has entered the awards, the
yeah,
wedding industry awards, right? You know, that
absolutely.
sounds good. And then if you get in the room, if you're a finalist, and by the way, not everybody becomes a finalist. It's one of those myths that surrounds awards, but people who often don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But it's roughly 2/3 to 3/4
Hmm.
become a finalist. And how we do that is very dry and boringly laid out on our website so that you can understand that. I mean, again, you won't find that on any other so-called awards.
Hmm.
Um, but if you get into the room as a finalist and you come to our event, that that's like gold dust. You're in
Hmm.
a very small minority of florists in this instance who've entered. Um, and win or not, and I never say lose, because it's not losing.
Hmm.
You've already done well to get in that room, believe me. But whether you win or not, there's benefit to be had from content creation in that room, photos, videos.
Absolutely.
You know, if you get on the stage and you had a trophy in your hands, well, okay, that's going to slightly look after that your content creation
Hmm.
itself. And we give you loads of photographs, official photos. There's reels that we create, professional video created reels. We trialed that last year and it seemed to work really well, so we're doing
Yeah,
that again this year.
absolutely.
We are all about adding value at every stage. The TWIA directory is only for entrants, finalists, and winners in the awards. Now, if you're, as a proposition to a bride and groom or civil partnership who are organizing their wedding, if you said, look, here's a website that only has tried and tested wedding businesses
Yeah.
and expertly judged,
Hmm.
why wouldn't you want those wedding businesses, or a selection of those businesses, at your
Yeah.
wedding? So you get a free listing on that directory as part of your entry. Again, no one else is going to be offering you that. The client feedback, you mentioned it, Vicky, it's a really popular aspect of what we do. User experience, client votes, they vote for you by scoring you out of 10
Hmm.
in 7 different category specific criteria about the florist you're voting for. Then they leave you a constructive criticism comment, hopefully, and then which is not seen by the judges, and just a general comment which is seen by the judges.
Hmm.
We give you, all the entrants, their feedback at the end of the awards. And I know how useful it can be in so many ways. You mentioned
It's
it.
amazing to read through
Lovely
that
to
as a
read it,
supplier. I
apart
mean,
from anything else.
nobody likes to not win. I'm not going to say the word lose. Nobody likes to not win. So I think people are sort of afraid of entering these things and then so-called wasting their money, and because they don't win at the end of the day. But like, as you rightly say, it's not about the winning as such. So there's so much to be gained from just the taking part in awards in general. I think for a small business, um, I think people who are listening will probably want that they're more careful because they're just starting out and they perhaps haven't got as much behind them as someone who's been in the industry for 13 years. They want more of a, I'm going to say guarantee, but it's not nothing's ever a guarantee, but that they're more careful about how they spend the money.
Yeah.
And they say, well, I'm spending this money on this, so what return am I going to get from it? And to those people, I would say, as well as the visibility aspects that Damian has mentioned here, it really gives you a bit of kudos as well. So when you're one of the problems you'll have when you're having consultations with clients, or when you're trying to get people to take you seriously on your website, when you haven't got much content or pictures on there yet, and that sort of thing, if you can say finalist in the like the wedding awards, and finalist in TWIA, or in a wedding consultation, for example, you can say to them, oh well, I'm I'm involved in the, you know, I'm a finalist in
You just
the
have your
awards, all
certificate
that sort of thing.
printed and framed on the side so they spot it
Yeah,
rather than you have to say.
absolutely. Yeah, you could have it here in the background. You know, I've got my
Or you could
little
just get your trophy down. There you go. Exactly.
my trophy here. You know, and you know, but even if you haven't won it, you can say, oh well, I was a finalist in the Wedding Awards this year. Wish me luck, you know, and all that sort of thing. And you know, it gives you that extra bit of kudos, and that might just help you get that couple
I
across
think
the
that's
line.
you're right there. I think
Yeah,
that's why I said we think of TWIA as the benefits can enhance your marketing. It's not going to be necessarily the one reason someone books you, but it's not going to hurt. But if you use the variety of benefits, it can help you and your business. It's not the be all and end all, and neither is winning. Winning is great, but we have to add value at every level. And I believe we do. I know we do. We get people who come back year after year, entering for various reasons, and they find the benefit. But you said this as well, and I want to reiterate this. You have to make it work for you. You have to use it. However, use it to get whatever you want out of it,
yeah,
but use it at every turn. And if you don't win, you have to then just say, hey, I had a try. I'm going to come back. I'm going to improve. This is to the audience. You know, how did you deal with that with your audience? Well, it wasn't my time. I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to come back stronger. And I'm going to have another go next time. I mean, the Olympics is on right now. This is going to date the podcast further down the line, but the Olympics is on now. And that's what you hear people say when they don't win. Because, well, I'm proud of myself. I put myself in the field of battle. I'm going to learn from it. I'm going to come back stronger, and I'm going to improve.
yeah.
That's the secret to success. It's as simple as that.
It really is. You know, and I remember entering awards as far back as, you know, maybe being a year or 2 years into my career. And yeah, okay, it doesn't feel good when you get yourself all excited and then your name doesn't get called out and you leave feeling really deflated. However, you exactly how you say that, you've got to make it work for you. And you know, over the years, you know, I didn't enter them for a few years, and I just sort of cracked on with what I do, and you know, did other things, and then I started entering again. And honestly, I can't tell you how it felt last November when I won. You always secretly hope it's your name that gets called out, but usually it doesn't. and then and then when you were on stage and you said floral quarter, and I was like, what?
It's a great feeling, isn't it?
Oh, so I actually had all this stuff planned in my head of what I would do or say, and then that just all went out the window. But it felt amazing to win. It really did, especially after such a tricky year for me health-wise. You know, my followers know I've been through breast cancer and all sorts of things. It's been a really tricky couple of years. So to go through that and not just survive it, you know, personally and business-wise, but to actually have that cherry on the cake there of actually winning, like, you know, getting better over that year. It felt absolutely amazing.
And I
And
make no bones about it.
yeah,
I'm proud of the fact that these are hard to win.
yeah, absolutely.
They are hard to win.
Felt like I'd won something.
Yeah.
But even if I hadn't won, there was all sorts of content going out. There was Instagram stories, not just on the night, but on the run up. And you know what? Even though I won, it still made me sharpen my pencil afterwards. You know, I've entered again this year, and I've been getting all of my clients to vote for me. You know, after everybody. You know, I think it's about 2 weeks afterwards, I email them and say, thanks so much, you know, yada, yada. Here's the link to Google review and vote for me. So that's part of my workflow now. So I would really suggest that to the listeners. You know, I know you're not getting, you know, you're in the first couple of years, so maybe your wedding bookings are just building up, but make that part of your workflow to email these people and Google review you. You can leave a link to Google review, but also vote for you in the wedding awards. And it just helps you check in with them after after the wedding day, because there's that temptation, isn't there, to sort of just say, I've done the wedding, all right, I'm going to go hide back in my hole now. As creative people, we feel
good
that
to stay in touch with people. They're your clients. They also, you've had a personal connection to them. Weddings are all about that personal connection. They will be delighted to vote for you. We get over 25,000 votes in total every year in these awards. That's a lot of very happy customers. I say that every year when I stand on that stage at those events. We're really proud of that, and everyone in the room should be really proud of that. People love what you do. They will vote for you. Just think, if you're starting out on your business career as a florist, just think about using TWIA to grow that. So, grow the number of weddings you want, or get out of it whatever you want. But I'm assuming most people want to do more or charge more or both. Brass tacks.
As a new wedding florist as well, though, it is hard to actually get in front of people and get your name out there. So something like this is amazing. You make those connections even with other wedding suppliers. Maybe you're sat next to a cake maker on the day. You get chatting to them at the award ceremony, and before you know it, you're pals and you're connected on Facebook and you're recommending each other. And so it's even just that process in itself really helps you get your name out there, and helps you. I always say to people, when you're first starting out, your first couple of years as a wedding florist, it's like trying to ride a bike in fifth gear, trying to start off in fifth gear. You're good at it, you can ride a bike, but it's really hard at first. And you'll get there, but it takes a lot of effort at first. For me, 13 years down the line, I've built up that momentum. I'm kind of okay. I can post stuff on social media and I'll get reactions and things like that, but it's really hard initially trying to get yourself seen and heard and visible. So being active on your socials and connecting with other suppliers is possibly like the best reason, I think, to enter awards.
Absolutely. And we sort of touched on it before, but the industry runs on word of mouth, both between couples and groups of friends who are organizing weddings, but also recommendations within B2B, business to business. So if I was an attendee, a florist, a relatively new florist, and I become a finalist and I'm at one of our events, I'd be making a beeline for the people. Now, this is going to sound terrible, but it's just a fact generally that the venues get booked first. There's a pecking order.
Well, it is, yeah. It's just part of the process.
Venues are at the very top of that. You can't really book anything else until you booked your venue. As that florist, I'd be going to those venues. I'd seek them out and I'd say, hi, introduce myself. You got to step out. I know that's the hardest bit for many people, but you've got to get in front of that and get out of your own way and say, hi, I'm Damian. I'm a wedding florist. I'm a finalist tonight. I'd love to talk to you about being on your recommended supplier list, or any florist work you need doing, or whatever, and maybe arrange to meet in person and post event if appropriate. If you win, you certainly need to be doing that. Same with photographers. Absolutely. Photographers are your friend, florists. You need quality photography of your work, and a decent wedding photographer will take loads of photographs of your flowers for the bride, but also they know that you'll want them too.
We are always bugging you, wedding photographers. Sorry about that.
Just so you know, I have a little way of doing it that makes it less what shall I say, not attritional, that sounds a bit harsh. Florists often are, this is slightly off topic, but I have a Just Giving page where I ask for a small donation to charity before I give another wedding business my photos of a wedding. I don't think they should be given for free, even for a credit, which I ask for anyway, because bookings tend not to work in that direction because of that pecking order I mentioned. So bringing this back to, so I tend to get asked for florist recommendations, but rarely does a florist get asked for a photography recommendation. It's just generally how it works. So I would recommend, don't expect to get those images for free.
Absolutely.
And actually, I've raised over £3,500 for a cancer charity.
It's a really good way of doing.
Battled cancer like you did when we first met. So we've been through that process too, and I know how horrible it is. So we've raised that. We continue to raise small trickly bits of money, but it all counts.
Well done.
And also, then everyone feels that I feel that there's some sort of transaction, which I think is fair for professional work. So I just thought I'd mention that. But florists, your phone is an extremely powerful tool, and you should learn how to use that with regard to taking photographs, but also be friends with the photographers. And that can start at our events. If it's a really great way to connect. We're all finalists in this room. Some of us will be winners, and that's a great launch pad for a connection.
I mean, there was, I've worked with many venues, as you can imagine, across the Northeast over the years. And, I know lots of the wedding coordinators and that sort of thing. So I have a relationship with them, but simply winning the award last year got me on the recommended supplier list for another award-winning local venue. So they got in touch with me, even though I knew them beforehand, and I often worked there anyway. But they as an award-winning venue are looking for the best suppliers
Of course,
themselves to recommend to their
makes them look good.
couples. Yeah, exactly. So they approached me probably a few weeks, a month after the ceremony, and said, Vicky, look, would you love to be our recommended supplier? Our recommended florist is actually retiring, and we're looking for a new one, and we can't think of anyone better. So that was a lovely phone call to get. And would that
For
have
us, that's
happened?
so great to hear, because
Yeah, it
we're
is.
about setting that standard.
Yeah.
And if other people trust that standard, other than couples, or in addition to couples, then that's incredibly powerful for us, because
Really is.
everyone benefits. They're recommending you because we're recommending you effectively. Those couples get the very best, and the standard rate rises. And if you're not up to that standard, frankly, or trying to meet that standard, then it's going to be tough for you to survive in a competitive market.
Yeah, it really is. So yes, gosh, I could chat to you about this all day, but I think generally to sort of to wrap up there, I would say to people, I know it's nerve-wracking. Okay, you're at the beginning of your career, you're trying to support your family, maybe you haven't even left your job yet to do this full time, but it is worthwhile spending money on reputable awards such as Damian's at the Wedding Industry Awards, and I'll pop the link for you to actually ask your followers to nominate you and stuff like that, to your previous clients to vote for you and things like that into the description as well. But I know it's nerve-wracking. You're thinking, I'm going to spend this £108 on this thing. What will I get back from it? Will I get wedding bookings and things like that? So what I would say is, get out of your own way here, and just, you might not see the return in the next couple of months, right? Okay, so it's not going to happen overnight. Nothing in this business does. It's weddings, people book 1-2 years in advance. So it's about so much more than that. It's about nurturing your future business. So and the connections, as we said earlier, that you make at this early stage of your business will last you a long time. They will really stand you in good stead for the next few years. And who knows, like I said earlier, you might make some great connections. You might be sat next to a cake maker or a photographer or somebody else around you, and you'll make those connections.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with that. Make it work for you. A couple of little things that I wanted just to mention, which sometimes stop people getting involved. As you mentioned at the outset, lots of these other so-called awards are most vote wins, and your mum can vote 10 times. That's not how we do it.
Yeah.
We understand that wedding businesses supply different numbers of weddings for all sorts of reasons. And if you're at the beginning of your career, you're going to have fewer than someone who's been doing it for 10, 15 years like yourself.
Yeah.
So our system is specifically designed to create a level playing field, so that businesses of all shapes and sizes can enter on that level playing field, so it's fair.
Which I love.
I won't explain how it's done, because it's really dry and boring.
We can check that out on the website.
It's on the website. Please do look. I'm thinking of putting a little Easter egg in that section to saying, if you've read this far, well done, and here's a discount off the event ticket if you become a finalist or something like that. I might just do that. I heard about someone doing it on an insurance small print, and they put a little Easter egg saying, if you've read this, please call this number to win £10,000. And one person did. Just shows that people.
Oh, excellent! There you go.
So
read the T&Cs.
I can't offer £10,000, but I can offer maybe a little smaller Easter egg. So do have a look at the website. Please read the information on there. And if you have any queries, you can book a call with me. There's the buttons all over the website where you can do it. A 15-minute call with me, and I'll personally answer any queries you have.
But it's a level playing field. Whether someone's been going for 6 months, 6 years, 20 years, whether they've done 5 weddings that year or 500 weddings that year, it matters not. It's the quality, isn't it?
Yes, and we also have a newcomer category, which I think will be relevant for maybe quite a lot of your listeners. So you would enter the florist category, and then if your business start date for this year is before the second, I think it's the 1st of October 2022, after the 1st of October 2022, then you are also classed as a newcomer, and you would be automatically entered into the newcomer category free of charge. You can't enter the newcomer category on its own, and it's a catch-all for the different all the different other categories feed into the newcomer category. But that's a freebie. So you're going to have twice as much chance of winning or being a finalist.
Well, there you go. You
So
can't complain at
that's
that.
a bonus too. So we understand that if you're at the beginning of your business, you should be able to enter, have as much chance as anybody else, get as much out of it as anybody else to help your business grow or develop or whatever it is you want to get out of it. So that's all I would say on that. The entries are opened and they close on the 23rd of September.
Coming up
Voting
fast.
closes 1 week later. On the 30th, and it does not matter when you enter. You won't be at a disadvantage if you enter on the last day. In fact, to give you a couple of little stats, about a quarter of all our entries enter in the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
And about a third of all voters vote in the last week.
Wow.
I hate it. As an organizer, it's a nightmare. I love everyone to enter in February and then just trickle the votes in as they go along, but that doesn't happen, and I get that. Human nature is to do 90% of the work in 10% of the time.
Yeah, I get that.
But it doesn't put anyone at a disadvantage. And in fact, for some people, it works really well. You enter in the last week, you then have a week or 10 days to get your votes in, and your couples will vote because there's a deadline looming.
Yeah.
So don't be put off. You're not too late. You'll be at no disadvantage. Then the judging process starts after voting closes, and the regional events are in November, and all the details are on the website. I think this year we are at South Causey Inn. Do you know that, Vicky?
We do, yes, absolutely. And I can't wait till the tickets sales open so I can get my
so
tickets.
Once the finalists are announced, the tickets go on sale. And all the people, everyone's welcome to the event, and bring your entourage, your friends, your family. We even have kids coming, little babes in arms with ear defenders on. You know, it's a fun party for people who spend most of their time at other people's parties.
It really is. Absolutely. Can't wait for that. So guys, yes, get yourself out there. Please don't hesitate to use awards to build your business, to boost your visibility. You will thank yourself for it. I'm sure.
I agree.
But Damian, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure talking to you. Like I say, last time I saw you was on stage, so it's nice to talk to you on a bit more of a personal level and have a good chat with you. But guys, welcome again, and thank you for listening. And remember to like and subscribe below or wherever it is once it's uploaded to YouTube. And I look forward to you tuning in on the next episode. All right, flower on.
Thanks, everyone.